Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to speak not just to your ears but to your hearts and minds. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just information, it's revelation. We are talking about girls, about their bodies, about their minds, and the miraculous design woven into them. It's time we opened our eyes to what we've overlooked, misunderstood, or taken for granted. Let's dive into 6 mind-blowing truths that will shake what you thought you knew. And from the very beginning, from the moment a girl takes her first breath, something extraordinary is happening in her mind. Something that most people never truly notice or understand. Science has shown us what faith and intuition have whispered for generations. That the brain of a girl is wired in a unique and miraculous way. Before she can even speak in full sentences, before she knows the difference between yesterday and tomorrow, a girl is already recognizing emotion in the faces around her. She is tuned in, she is connected, she is feeling. Her brain is not just functioning, it is reaching out. Where a boy's mind might be drawn toward motion or mechanics in those early months, a girl's mind is already seeking relationship. Her mirror neurons, the cells that help her sense and reflect the emotions of others, are firing more intensely, more frequently. That means a girl is designed from the beginning to feel with others, to understand without explanation, to carry what others carry even when no words are spoken. And that is not weakness, that is not fragility, that is not something to be corrected, it is strength. Mighty, mysterious, and unshakable strength. The kind of strength the world doesn't always value because it doesn't make noise. But let me tell you, just because something is quiet doesn't mean it isn't powerful. Some of the most powerful forces in the universe make no sound. Gravity makes no sound. The wind that turns the tide makes no sound. The heart of a girl beating with empathy, burning with compassion, is one of those forces. It's not weak, it's wiring. And yet we live in a world that tries to silence that voice. A culture that says be less sensitive, toughen up, stop crying. But sensitivity is not something to be pushed down. It is something to be lifted up. It is the light by which a girl navigates the pain of others. It is the radar that helps her read a room, hear the hurt behind the laughter, feel the tension behind a smile. And it is that very sensitivity that makes her such a fierce friend, such a wise leader, such a healer in a broken world. You see, girls are not just emotionally tuned in for the sake of drama or storytelling. That empathy is deeply biological. It has purpose. It is part of a greater design. It is meant to guide her in relationships, in decisions, in caregiving, in leadership. We have to stop telling girls that emotions make them irrational. Emotions make them human. Emotions make them whole. And when channeled well, emotions make them world. Let me ask you, what might the world look like if we stopped suppressing the emotional brilliance of girls and started honoring it? What might shift if we taught our daughters that their feelings are not liabilities? What kind of leaders might we raise if we stopped saying, "Don't be so emotional," and started saying, "Thank you for seeing what I couldn't"? This is not a theory, this is truth. It's wired into the biology, it's written in the cells, and yet we've missed it, we've ignored it. We've tried to push girls into molds they were never meant to fit. But today I'm telling you, don't ask a girl to be less than who she is. Celebrate that early empathy, protect it, nurture it. It is not just a part of her, it is her power, a power the world desperately needs. Let her feel, let her care, let her light up the world with the fire in her heart and the truth in her tears. Because from the very beginning, she was made for connection. And that, my friend, is divine. We live in a world where girls are often taught to see their bodies as problems to solve instead of wonders to behold. From the moment they can stand in front of a mirror, someone is already whispering lies about how they should look, how they should shrink, how they should change. But let me tell you the truth, and let it ring louder than the noise. A girl's body is not a billboard, it is not a product, it is not a display case for public opinion. It is a miracle. Every bone, every breath, every beat of her heart, think about it. A girl's body is not only alive, it's alive with purpose. Her heart isn't just pumping blood, it's carrying courage. Her lungs don't just take in air, they fuel words that change lives. Her muscles don't just move her from place to place, they hold her up when the world tries to knock her down. And yes, every month her body goes through a cycle so finely tuned, so intricate, that even modern science still stands in awe of how it works. This isn't inconvenience, it's orchestration, it's preparation for the possibility of life every single month. And even when that life never comes, the body still sings the song of readiness. And yet, what do we do with this miracle? We reduce it to numbers on a scale. We pick it apart in selfies. We measure it against impossible standards and airbrush lies. We turn what is sacred into a spectacle, and too often girls internalize that message. They begin to believe their worth is something they have to earn by being smaller, thinner, quieter, less. They were made to embody strength and softness, intelligence and beauty, complexity and courage. Her hips aren't too wide, they're the frame of a future. Her skin isn't too dark or too light, it's a canvas of heritage, of history, of story. Her stretch marks, those are lightning bolts of growth. Her scars, testimonies of survival. Her curves, her muscles, her softness, her shape, all of it is on purpose. Not a single part of her is an accident. Not a single inch is disposable. You don't get to rewrite what was already written in one. And here's the truth the world keeps trying to hide. A girl's body doesn't exist to impress. It exists to express strength, movement, compassion, defiance, and dignity. Her body is how she hugs her mother. It's how she runs toward her dreams. It's how she lifts others up. It's how she dances in joy and stands firm in struggle. Her body is not shameful. Her body is not wrong. Her body is a vessel of sacred power, and it deserves to be honored, not hidden. Let me say this clearly so no one misses it. How a girl feels about her body will shape how she moves through the world. If we keep telling her it's not good enough, she'll keep showing up as less than she is. But if we tell her the truth, if we tell her she was made in wonder, made in strength, made in perfect intention, then she'll walk taller, she'll speak louder, she'll live freer. So stop measuring, stop comparing, stop apologizing. Her body isn't the problem, our perspective is, and it's time we changed it. It's time we taught our daughters and reminded ourselves that their bodies were never meant to be judged. They were meant to be celebrated. Because a girl's body, just like her soul, was never made for the world's approval. It was made for something higher. There's something most people never notice, something that hides behind the surface of many girls' lives. It's quiet, it's invisible, but it's real. And it's this: girls often feel pain more deeply than they let on, and more often than not, they suffer silently. Let that sink in. Science has proven what many hearts already know. Girls experience pain, physical, emotional, psychological, with greater sensitivity. Not only do their bodies respond more acutely to pain signals, but their minds hold on to that pain longer. Where others might shake it off or speak it out loud, girls are more likely to internalize it, to hold it in, to keep moving as if nothing's wrong. And why? Because many have been conditioned to believe that expressing pain makes them weak, that breaking down means breaking apart, that saying "I'm hurting" might be too much for someone else to handle. So what do? They smile, they nod, they keep showing up. They take care of others while quietly unraveling in. You'd be surprised how many girls walk through their days with a storm in their chest, pain in their gut, and no space safe enough to say it out loud. But don't mistake that silence for peace. Don't assume that smile is always joy. There is a strength in girls that is both beautiful and heartbreaking. They endure, often without applause and it begins early. When a little girl scrapes her knee, she's told to shake it off. When she's teased or left out, she's told, "Don't be so sensitive." When her body starts to change and ache in ways she doesn't understand, the world gives her whispers and discomfort instead of clarity and celebration. Slowly but surely, she learns pain isn't something to speak, it's something to hide. But the truth is, pain isn't weakness, it's a signal, and ignoring it doesn't make it go away, it only makes it heavier. We must stop teaching our girls that strength means silence. Real strength is knowing when to speak. Real courage is asking for help. Real power is saying "this hurts" and still choosing to move. What would it look like if we created spaces where girls didn't have to fake fine, where they were allowed to tell the truth about their pain without being dismissed or diminished? What would change if we stopped brushing past their burdens and started asking deeper questions? How are you really? What are you carrying that no one sees? Because the girl in your classroom who never misses a day may be carrying the weight of family conflict. The girl on your team who always shows up may be silently battling anxiety. The girl laughing at lunch might have cried herself to sleep the night before. Pain wears many masks, but it lives close to the surface in more lives than we realize. It's time we noticed. It's time we listened, not just to what's said, but to what's not said. It's time we stopped expecting girls to be superhuman just to be seen as strong. They don't need to be tough. They need to be heard. They need to be held. They need to be told, "You don't have to carry this alone." Because the truth is, when girls are given permission to speak their pain, they don't just survive, they heal. They find strength not in pretending everything is okay, but in walking through the fire and still standing. And when they realize that they're not alone in the pain, they become not only survivors but healers for others. So don't look away, don't overlook, don't assume. There is a quiet war being fought inside the hearts of many girls. It's time we showed up, not with fixes, not with judgment, but with compassion and presence, because no one should have to suffer in silence, especially not her. There is a shift that happens quietly, often unnoticed, but devastating in its reach. Around the age of 9, a girl's self-esteem begins to reach its peak. She's still full of light then, still bold, still curious, still willing to raise her hand in class and try something new without asking, "Am I good enough?" But just a few short years later, something changes. By age 13, that light begins to dim. She starts second-guessing her worth. She starts shrinking herself, and many of us never stop to ask why. The answer isn't simple, but it is familiar. It's 1,000 messages, spoken and unspoken. It's a culture that bombards her with images of who she should be, what she should look like, how she should speak, and even how she should feel. It's the slow creeping erosion of confidence that comes from always being compared by social media, by classmates, sometimes even by the people closest to her. She begins to feel like she's being measured,
and she starts coming up short in her own mind, not because she is less, but because she's been told directly or indirectly that she's not enough, not pretty enough, not thin enough, not popular enough, not smart enough, not quiet enough, not loud enough. And when a girl hears that message enough time, she starts to believe it. She begins to retreat. She stops trying new things because she's afraid of failing. She stops speaking up because she's afraid of being wrong. She stops seeing herself as someone with value because the world around her has given her a false standard and told her that's what she needs to be in order to be loved, to be noticed, to be worthy. This is not a surface issue. This is deep. This is a wound that cuts to the core of who a girl is. And it doesn't stop at for many, it follows them into adulthood. It shapes their decisions, their relationships, their dreams. A girl who once believed she could do anything now second guesses whether she deserves to try at all. And that should break our hearts, 'cause here's the truth. There is nothing wrong with her. There is something wrong with the voices she's been listening to. There is something wrong with the systems, the media, the careless words that have made her question her own light. And it's time we became louder than those voices. It's time we became the people who remind her who she really is. Not someone who needs to earn love, not someone who needs to chase perfection, but someone who is already worthy, already beautiful, already powerful, already enough. We need to speak truth to the girls in our lives, not once, but again and again until it becomes the soundtrack in their hearts. We need to look them in the eyes and say, you are not a number on a scale. You are not the likes on a post. You are not someone's judgment. You are a force. You are a miracle. You are needed here because confidence doesn't just happen. It is built. It is spoken into existence. And we are the builders. Every time we choose to see a girl for who she is, rather than who she's told to be, we restore something sacred. We help her stand taller. We help her live freer. We help her remember what the world tried to make her forget, that she is more than enough, and always has been. The world may try to make her small, but we will not. We will lift her up. We will protect her voice. We will remind her of her fire, because a girl who knows her worth cannot be stopped. They tell girls to sit still, to be polite, to not raise their voice. They teach them in subtle and loud ways to step back so others can step forward. And the great tragedy is that while the world is doing all it can to tame them, what's being ignored is this: girls are mentally stronger than they are ever told, and the world is poorer because of that silence. There is a myth, an old tired myth, that strength looks like aggression, that it sounds like dominance, that it walks into the room with a booming voice and demands to be heard. But let me show you another kind of strength, the kind that listens with intention, the kind that endures through pain without complaint, the kind that thinks deeply, adapts quickly, and moves with quiet wisdom. That kind of strength lives in girls. It thrives there. Girls are more emotionally intelligent than they are given credit for. They read between the lines, they pick up on tone, they notice what's not being said just as clearly as what is. While others rush to speak, they often pause to understand. That's not timidity, it's wisdom. That's not weakness, it's strategy. They're learning how to navigate the emotional landscape of people and problems, often without being taught. They're tuning in while the world is tuning out. Girls also show resilience that defies logic. They bounce back from rejection, from judgment, from heartbreak and disappointment again and again. Not always perfectly, not without scars, but they rise, they grow, they learn. They survive things quietly that would break others loudly, and they do it while being told they're too sensitive, too dramatic, too emotional. But maybe, just maybe, they are exactly sensitive enough to feel the world clearly and strong enough to carry it anyway. Their minds are built for multitasking, for handling complexity, for managing the emotions of others while sorting through their own. That's the kind of power the world doesn't always recognize, because it's not flashy, but just because it doesn't make a scene doesn't mean it isn't revolution. Girls can hold contradiction, they can balance empathy and logic, they can think with their hearts without losing their heads. That's not confusion, Dad, but instead of being told how remarkable this is, they are often told to suppress it, to simplify, to stay in line, to not make it too complicated. And slowly that fire begins to dim. They begin to question their gut instinct. They begin to believe that leadership looks like someone else, not like them. They start to wonder if maybe, just maybe, their voice isn't as needed as they once thought. And that's the moment when we must step in. That's the moment when we speak the truth they aren't hearing enough. You were born with brilliance. You were built with strength. The world needs your mind, your perspective, your voice. Let's stop pushing girls into corners they were never made to fit. Let's stop asking them to shrink to make others comfortable. Let's stop pretending that their ideas need polishing when really they need platforms. Let's raise up girls who don't apologize for being smart, for being sharp, for being serious about who they are and where they're going. Because when a girl knows she's capable, she stops looking for permission. She starts walking in authority. She starts dreaming bigger. She starts lifting others as she rises. And when enough girls step into that kind of power, the world won't just change, it will transform. So no more dimming down, no more second guessing. If we want a stronger world, we start by telling girls the truth about their strength. It was always there. There's a sacred mystery woven into the body of a girl, something often ignored, overlooked, or misunderstood, but is powerful and it deserves to be spoken aloud. A girl's body isn't just biology, it's rhythm, its cycle, its signal. Her body is constantly communicating, constantly adapting, constantly reflecting the state of her mind, her heart, and more we begin to listen to it, really listen, the more we begin to understand that her body isn't working against her, it's working for her. Many people don't know this, but a girl's hormonal shifts influence not only her physical state, but her mental, emotional, and even social pattern. Her energy rises and falls in a natural rhythm. Her brain chemistry changes throughout her monthly cycle in ways that affect her memory, her creativity, her confidence, her focus. In the first part of her cycle, she's often bolder, clearer, more extrovert. In the later phase, she may feel a pull inward, more reflective, more sensitive, more aware. This isn't inconsistency. This isn't moodiness. This is intelligence, the deep inner intelligence of the body doing what it was created to do. And yet the world teaches girls to fight it, to ignore the signals, to push through the pain, to pretend like every day should feel the same. But the truth is, sameness isn't strength. Alignment is. Strength is learning to work with the body, not against it. Strength is honoring those shifts instead of shaming them. It's learning when to press forward and when to rest, when to lead and when to step back and renew. Because a girl's body is not a machine, it is a garden, and gardens grow in season. But because this truth isn't widely taught, too many girls grow up confused. They feel betrayed by their own bodies. They think their cycles are a curse, not a gift. They feel guilty for needing rest. They feel wrong for having days when they don't feel like themselves. But what if we told them the truth? What if we said, You are not broken. You are responding. You are flowing. You are changing in sacred ways, and that change is not a problem. It's a message. When a girl learns to understand her body's signals, she learns to trust her. She learns that her intuition is rooted in something real. She stops apologizing for her needs. She stops doubting her instincts. She starts syncing her life with her natural rhythm, and suddenly everything becomes clearer. Her confidence rises, not because everything is easy, but because she's no longer fighting her own design. Imagine what the world would look like if we taught girls this from the start. If we stopped pretending like their cycle was something to whisper about behind closed doors, and started calling it what it is, a built-in compass, a God-given blueprint, a signpost of power. Imagine if we help girls see that their hormones aren't enemies, but allies, that their changing moods and needs are not signs of weakness, but signs of being alive and fully human. This isn't about science alone, it's about reverence. It's about honoring what has always been true. It's about lifting the shame and replacing it with understanding. Because when a girl embraces her cycle, she doesn't just understand her body better, she understands her whole self better. She begins to live in partnership with who she is. She stops trying to fit into a mold built for someone else, and starts walking boldly in the skin and soul she's been given. So let's stop the silence. Let's end the shame. Let's give girls the language to talk about what they're feeling, and the freedom to feel it without fear. Because when a girl knows her body is not a burden but a teacher, she begins to trust her deepest voice, and that voice can move mountains. We've been too blind for too long. Girls are not objects. They are not statistics. They are not just daughters or students or influencers. They are temples of thought, vessels of vision, and miracles in motion. So let us not just know these facts, let us let them change us. Let us raise our voices to protect, to uplift, and to awaken a world that's forgotten what it means to truly see her. Thank you.